Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Ricky. Real quick, before we throw it into my interview with Raj and Guru, I just had to say my bad. Went to edit the pod, heard the intro, and I'm definitely speaking from out of my AirPods and not my main microphone. So please bear with my audio. I had to jump in and just put the disclaimer out. Don't need folks in the comments talking about, oh, why Ricky shit sounds so awful. Do need to get his stuff together and professional. I realized it and we corrected it about halfway through. So please, Guru sounds great. Raj sounds great. The conversation is great. I know you'll enjoy it, but you know, I'm a tortured soul. I couldn't bear letting this ride without letting y'all that I was aware that I sound like Boo Boo the Fool for the first half hour. So in any event, enjoy the pod. Let us know what you think. Peace. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to a new episode of the Late Night Lake Show podcast powered by Prize Picks. It is your host, Ricky, and I got my boys in the building. Guru, Late Night Lake Show's finest, honcho of the late night spaces, is in the building. Guru, what's the word? Appreciate you coming on.
Man, life is high right now, my brethren, and we walk down the street all day long with our heads held high, and you gentlemen know why. So
You're goddamn right.
the birds are chirping.
Man, if we go dive into everything that's got the sunshine out. I mean, hell, it was snowing in Chicago yesterday, but all that went away after the Lakers just gut wrenching, just strong, just heartfelt victory that they grasped and took from the Los Angeles Clippers last night. But before we get into that, Raj, what's happening,
Yes,
man?
sir.
How you feeling? How you living, baby?
Oh, I'm feeling good. Got to be back. Last time I was here, you had me, talking about the
I did.
Celtics and Sixers and picking out all these and discussing all these other teams. And I was like, get me on and let me talk Lakers, man. That's what I do. I want to talk Lakers, so I'm excited to be here and to do that.
And Roger's not joking. I thanked him for coming on our season preview roundtable. Guru was a part of that as well, and he was like, "Yeah, man, no problem. Just let me know next time we're talking Lakers. I'd, so we can get after that." So had to spin the block on my boy, and then what better time to do it than after a just strong victory last night? The Los Angeles Lakers, if you are joining us, what is it? Well, it'll be Friday by the time you guys are hearing this. But on Wednesday night, defeated the Los Angeles Clippers in overtime on the back of a LeBron James vintage performance. Another strong Anthony Davis outing, and of course, we got to give our props to the supporting cast, and we're gonna get on into all of that. The Lakers are currently sitting at 3-2 on the season, a handful of games under their belt. So we got a little sample size, but enough to see what we like and what we don't like. So before we get on to all of that, make sure you are subscribed to Late Night Lake Show wherever you get your hashtag good content. Raj, I said it before the show, man. I was planning on doing a little bit, taking a shot, maybe cracking a can, just really
Yeah.
just highlighting the moment. And I want to be real specific about this. It's not because the Lakers beat the Los Angeles Clippers. That is beyond the point. It's that the Lakers snapped an 11 game losing streak against another professional franchise. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but never in the history of my 31 years on this planet have the Lakers ever lost to one team as many times in a row as they have lost to the Clippers up until last night. Bro, it was July 30th, 2020. Rock
Yeah.
Star by the baby and Roddy Rich. I don't even know if Roddy Rich exists anymore, man. Was the number one song in America at the time. COVID was just getting all ramped up, ready to rumble to wreck our lives, and Donald Trump was in office. That's how long ago it's been since the Lakers beat the Los Angeles Clippers. And God damn it, I am happy that we can wake up this morning and know that that black cloud is no longer over our head. Raj, your reaction to last night's game, it did not look like it was going to happen for that first quarter, first half, but
No.
God damn it, the Lakers made it happen, man.
Yeah, you say 11 straight losses. It's not just that; it's 11 straight to the same coach, right? Same coach. Ty Lue had a bandage on us. 11 straight losses to him, to the Kawhi and Paul George, I guess, era of the Clippers after the Doc season. But no, that game started off rough, man. Kawhi, I thought, turned into Michael Jordan '93. He just like would not miss. And we put LeBron on him to start, and I thought LeBron's intensity was kind of waxing way to start the quarter, and Kawhi just went nuts to start that game. But we chipped and clawed our way back. And to me, that game, Ricky and Guru, was just LeBron going like, yeah, I see James Harden on the bench over there. I see Kawhi, cooking. I see Paul George playing well, but you still got to go through me, right? And like you could tell, like that his intensity ramped up as the game went on. Second quarter, he started to get buckets, starting to go at Zoo, and kind of played him off the floor. But that was just a gut wrenching win. Down 19 in the first quarter, cut it to 13 by halftime. And then Austin Reaves got his groove back. D'Lo, a back-to-back 27 plus point nights for him
Mm.
after a 20 plus against Orlando. The team is just starting to coalesce, right? And we had no wings last night. Like all summer, Ricky, I think I came on the pod. It was like, we have wings
Yeah,
now. And
we got the
Torian,
depth.
Vando, yeah, Torian, Vando, Rui, all out, right, with their respective injuries. And Cam Reddish comes in, Max Christie comes in, Christian Wood, just a total team effort there. And this could be like one that really gets them, ramping up. We had a tough schedule to start, but 3-2. I'll take it. A Sacramento game that could have gone either way, and obviously against the champs. But AD looks like a monster. He looks in midseason form. LeBron, I have no idea how he still continues to look like this. But last night was the championship still goes through me type of performance. Like you still gotta go through me. And I thought he needed to have that against the Clippers, and it took all of that to beat them last night.
They definitely needed all of it. Yeah, that's for damn Skippy. Shout out to D'Angelo Russell holding down the fort in the first quarter after the Kawhi Leonard onslaught. That was
Yeah.
good. I was gonna start, putting the kid under the bed and going into the emergency tornado situation position because shit was getting real dark outside. So, man, I think Raj alluded to it though, Gu. These are one of those wins that you pick up throughout the season. And yes, it is early. It's game 5. But when you look back on the season as what are those key victories that define what a team is made of, this would be one of those, right?
Do you guys remember the last such signature win that the Lakers had?
Ooh.
I mean, you alluded to it a little bit earlier. When you're talking en route to a title, it was in the
Mhm.
same weekend that you spoke of.
Mm.
That
It
Bucks
was
game?
Clippers and then the Bucks,
Yeah.
right? A signature win of sorts, and then shutdown. I'm sorry, I don't want to misspeak. I think that was before the shutdown in March. Then we came back
Yeah.
Yeah.
and won that Clippers game in July as well. So I remember where I was. That's how you know it's a true traumatic experience.
Yeah.
I remember where I
Right.
was the last time we beat the Clippers. I don't know if y'all remember the exact location that you were in the last time we beat this team. I remember exactly where I was.
Yeah, I was probably at the
Yep.
crib for sure. Kwame, I'm sure, was somewhere with me, and we was riding high, right? Like that was again. I think so. What July 30th was the bubble. We were in the
Mhm.
bubble where we got after, right? And it was just a weird moment. We were just fucking happy basketball was back,
Right,
right? We didn't know what
right,
was going to happen. Hell,
right.
maybe a game later, a day later, I forget what team they were not happy with what happened locally. Oh, it was the Bucks. The
It
Bucks
was.
were having a conversation. It was the Sterling Brown situation, I believe, and they were like, "Fuck this! I think we're ready to go home and pack all this shit up." And then that's when they had an all-team meeting, and then everybody came back in. But yeah, man, wild times at what is now almost 3.5, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It felt like an eternity, but I mean, the Lakers find a way to get the W 130, 125, right? And this is if you just go from a pure entertainment standpoint, take aside the Lakers. The Clippers stars went off, man. Kawhi Leonard, 38 points. We talked about him. Paul George, like, God damn it, man. He comes in the fourth quarter, and it's just like a missile. He's just running down the court, pull up threes. You're like, yeah, that's probably going in, man, especially when he's hovering over D'Angelo Russell with a hand in his face. So, I mean, from just a pure entertainment of basketball, hell, even Russ had an entertaining basketball game, probably for both teams, depending on how you look at it. But I just, that was one of those games that was well worth staying up late for. And thank God we got the W because I didn't even drink last night. I would have a hangover if the Lakers did not pull out that victory. Goo, the spaces were on fire last night, bro. They were on fire. What was the pulse of the nation after that victory?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of LeBron praise, obviously. A lot of a lot of I was happy that people were honest with themselves. A lot of people weren't afraid to say like, "Yeah, I'm glad this is over." I'm not with I'm not with the fake projection type deal and trying to present as though I'm unbothered about something when it bothers me.
Yeah.
And I'm not, look, I take a title, or the playoff run that we had every day of the week. But two things can be true. Yes, that's more important. But yes, this is annoying, and
Yeah,
it needed
facts.
to end, and it did.
Sure.
Yeah. But to answer your question, I mean, the general consensus of the spaces was that, I mean, a lot of Austin hype, a lot of Cam Reddish hype, and a lot of people, walking back their Cam Reddish takes. And
Was it
yeah,
nasty? Was they walking the plank guru on the Cam
how
Reddish take? Well, first of all, were you walking back any takes on Cam Reddish? Let's tell the truth, shame the devil.
Hey, well, I did even worse. I did the most shameless. I just jumped on the other side and act like I was there the whole time.
Hey, and it was easy once you saw and once you kind of, took off the blinders of wow, this man is still kind of trying to find his identity on the offensive end. And, I think at this point in time, the whole spot up 3-point shooter role, it may not suit him. But when we started to see what he was making strides and contributions on was on the defensive end of the court. Fellas, I've mentioned this several times since Cam Reddish has been on the team that when he is on the floor, I think to myself, damn, this dude is taller and longer as far as his wingspan than I anticipated. I really didn't watch any Cam Reddish before he got to the Lakers. And just to
Mhm.
see that, all right, this is a frame, this is a size of somebody who can at least be disruptive on defense. And we all know that playing defense is a lot of mentality and want to, right? Just as much as it is IQ and ability. And I mean, Raj, you tell me by the numbers, by the eye test, Cam
Yeah.
Reddish's contributions on the defensive end, it can't go without big praise, right?
Right, and, Guru's talking about walking the plank and just jumping on the other side. Just to be fair, that's not the Cam Reddish we were sold, right? Like, I think, like, the people who've been driving the Cam
That doesn't
Reddish
matter.
train. No, 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 for sure, but I'm just saying, like, the people driving the Cam Reddish train, that train has changed colors, it's fixed its wheels, right? That's not the train that started off on the tracks. This is a completely different Cam Reddish, who's still a pretty net 0 on offense, right? Can't hit spot up threes, was 1 for 5 from 3 last night. A guy that's still trying to find his way, gets all his stuff in transition. I think went 1 from 2 from the free throw line in the clutch, but the defense has definitely been there, and that's something I think no other team has been able to lock into him. Christian Wood as well is in that same kind of class, but I think Cam has all the defensive tools, right? And you see it, the athleticism pop out. He had that dunk attempt on Zubac, right? It was like, whoa, like where did that come from? Kind of stuff, that type of aggression and that type of pop that he just wasn't showing. But he had like defensive plays on Paul George where in my opinion, Paul George's best defender is Paul George. Like something happens in the playoffs every year where he just takes himself out, right? Like the best defense on Paul George is Paul George. He's gonna guard himself somehow and take himself out. But like in the regular season, PG is a tough cover, and Cam does something where when you guard a guy like that, you want to mirror their dribbles, right? And Cam is really good at that, and that's something that no other team has really tapped into. But if you watch him guard Paul George, he has like the athleticism to do it. He like poked the ball away. How many people like steal it from Paul George at half court? Like
Right.
very few people are able to do that. He got a nice pick, kind of 6 on him, and then I think he had another like really nice play late, late in the overtime on him. But like, yeah, the Cam's defense I think has been extremely shocking to me. He's surpassed my expectations, and this is how he's gonna play though. And his quotes after the game, I think he said, I can do more than that with like a sly kind of smile, and it's understandable, right? A guy like that trying to get a contract, but no, his defense has been fantastic. And one other thing that he does, I'll finish up here, is that he's a good rebounder. And that's something this team really needs. Like our guards just don't rebound. Torian Prince is 6'6", but is an off or 6'7", but is an awful defensive rebounder. And that's something that Cam is able to do. He has a nice nose for the ball and he gets contact rebounds that helps us. So he's been good. He played 37 freaking minutes last night. Cam
37
Reddish,
minutes, man.
37 minutes in an overtime game. But that's a ton for a guy that was supposed to just play spot backup minutes here and there. Darvin has found something he likes and he's played well.
And he is not shy on vocalizing that he likes the Cam Reddish content. He says that he is one of the premier defenders, and Goob, the ravenous timeline was starting to foam at the mouth, man, because the hometown kid, and I can say that especially for me since he went to high school up the street. Um, Grandson, Max Christie, was Noah Stock for the better part of 4 basketball games. And a lot of people contributed that to Cam Reddish is eating up all of his minutes. He's now one of Darvin's angels and he can do no wrong. When we take a look at what he did last night and want to give Max his props. He also, made contributions on the defensive end. His shot wasn't falling. But I think we kind of now see Darvin's view in POV on why he's been prioritizing Cam Reddish minutes over Max Christie. Hell, he said he's a playoff tested veteran, brother, and he's not lying. He's not lying. Is this kind of put everything into clarity for the nation now after seeing a really strong contribution from Cam Reddish, even on the main stage against a premier team like the Clippers?
Absolutely. I think, I mean, if you wind the clocks back, then you can you remember, he was able to show you a stretch on Chris Middleton in the playoffs, right? I mean, I think we all have long known that those physical tools, 6'8", with that wingspan, he's supposed to be a lockdown defender. Um, that's literally his archetype. It's just, did he want to do that? And last night he wanted to do it. He wanted to do it. He, I tweeted something out like he embraced that challenge. He wanted it so bad, and he was a catalyst along with LeBron's offense, and just kind of treading water there for a minute. Um, uh, we were bleeding, but because of Cam, we weren't bleeding profusely. And that's the best way I can describe it. We were able to get patched up. We were able to do some first aid work and get right back out there. This was not a bludgeoning wound, because of his defense. And so, um, even when the shots were made, I thought the contests were
Yeah.
damn near perfect. I mean, he's getting right at the top of Kawhi's follow through, meeting it right there. That's a difficult thing to do when he's freezing you with his fakes. He's fading away, and he's the release that Kawhi has. It's almost textbook. That's difficult to do. And also, look no further. There's a play where Austin was trying to defend him. The shoulder bump that Kawhi gave him was so subtle, and
Yeah.
you saw Austin go back about 2 feet and create and create space and whoop, right over the top. So to have a guy, it's not about stopping him. It's about making it difficult. It's about making Kawhi know that, okay, this isn't going to be a walk in the park. I'm going to actually have to sweat and work
Mhm.
to put the ball in the bucket. That's what you're doing with those guys. That's what Cam did last night. Game ball goes to him. Um, I couldn't be more happy to be more wrong about a guy. Um, Look, do y'all want my first reaction when I found out he was starting?
Yeah. Actually, I do.
I said we're losing by 40.
Yeah, yeah. After the first, it did look like we were heading that direction. So,
I
you
said
were
we're losing
one
by
fourth
40. I
right.
literally like said that out loud
He had a block on Kawhi too last night. Like he had
with
one
the
block in
left hand,
transition.
with the
Yeah,
offhand block.
Kawhi got a nice bump on him, and he absorbed that contact and blocked him at the top. That's rare. You don't see Kawhi get his shot blocked, very often. So
No.
awesome, defense from Cam last night.
I do want to say this as far as the Kawhi just takeover. First of all, the highest amount of points he's ever scored in his career in the first
And
quarter, and
yeah,
this was coming off of a game where he scored what 8 goddamn basketball points.
he
Come
did not
on,
sweat in
man.
that game. He did not
Basketball.
sweat.
Like, come on, man. I'm surprised he was even there at the fourth quarter and not halfway to the club or at home. Like
So,
it.
so
Did,
if you guys
he,
ever wonder what in-game load management looks like, it's old school.
yeah.
That was it. That was
Right.
it. That was in-game load management. They used to do it all the time. Shaq, Kobe, and them. I literally watched them take quarters off and games off and then, hey, let's play hard for 5 minutes and win this. That's what Kawhi was doing.
It's funny you say that, Gu, as we switch topics here and get our eyes on the king, LeBron James. I mean, God damn it, man. It is such an honor and a pleasure to have this man in purple and gold doing what he's doing at this stage in his career. Another just masterclass takeover performance between the second half and the fourth quarter. LeBron, I think, by all intents and purposes, was slow to start, feeling out the game, however you want to describe it, positively, negatively. He was, not as locked in and as engaged as we may have wanted or needed. But man, did he make up for it. I think the one thing that stands out to me and one thing that is evident is that what was LeBron James quote? Whatever it is, but I'm the son. Go. Do you remember that full quote?
Ooh, ooh, man.
That was the to Mike Malone quote. That
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. We'll have
Uh,
to get it and look it up, maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to get it. LeBron James showed that he was still the son on the basketball court. Kawhi Leonard, for all intents and purposes, the turbo button was extinguished by the fourth quarter and overtime. He used all of that RT in the first quarter and in the first half. Paul George fouled out. Hell, this could have been another story if Paul George would stop fouling throughout the game, but he ends up bowing out in the game. And LeBron James is the last one standing with his Los Angeles Lakers. Fellas, before we get into just another masterclass and we can talk about, where he is dominating on the floor, I think one of the overarching topics around LeBron this season is his workload. Is how much their Lakers this early in the season are asking of LeBron James, and it could be a little bit of, well, Darvin Ham maybe shouldn't have just said anything after Game One when he held LeBron to 29 minutes in the loss to the Nuggets and said that this was intentional. This is our goal. We're going to try to keep him under 30. It's like, all right, next game against the
Yeah.
Suns, that went out the window, right? And LeBron really hasn't gotten back under that 29 minute mark since. We needed every minute of him last night. Gu, you talked about in-game load management. I wanted to start with Raj on this topic. Do you think that this conversation about LeBron's workload is justified or a little blown out of proportion because of what Gu said? In-game load management is still a thing. And if anyone could be good at it, it should be Mr. Year One, Deion Sanders' primetime year in the NBA, LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to have LeBron playing high minutes, so I guess the conversation is justified. Like I think the most important thing this season is remember LeBron opening night. Obviously, we got blown out by Denver. Whatever, LeBron looked incredible physically, and I want to be able to get that guy to April, right? Whatever we can do to get that guy from opening night to April, we got to do. The path to get there, there's different ways getting from A to B. Maybe it's A to C to B, whatever it is. Trying to get that guy physically healthy to the end of the to the playoffs and hopefully more. So like I think that's justified. But I do think the Lakers do a good job, and the load management part that Guru was talking about is true. I think the way this team does it, and this team is going to do it. I think before I think the way the team was built was to give him a bunch of ball handlers, right? Like Austin, you take over the
Yeah.
offense. D'Lo, you take over the offense. Have them kind of lessen his workload offensively. But I think the thing we're finding out, and it's bored out into the numbers, is that we need to give him defensive help, right? And this is where the two bigs to me come in. And nobody wants
Yes,
to make
sir.
LeBron a wing. Nobody wants to make LeBron a wing, right? You kind of think of the wings around the league, the Jason Tatum's and those kind of guys. But last night we started him on Kawhi, right? But what we did was we took away his help kind of responsibilities at the rim, right? So like that's where I think playing AD with Christian Wood helps a lot. And the way the game was iced last night was I believe Russ attacked the basket, shuffled it to Zoo. Zoo pump fake, AD went up for it, and then Christian Wood got the block from behind, right? Those are power forward responsibilities to me that LeBron just doesn't want to do in the regular season, which makes sense, right? Like LeBron doesn't want to come over and be the second side help every time or be the guy that gets charges or who's battling physically with rebounds, which is why, in my opinion, we're giving up a shit ton of offensive boards, like because like we're relying on Torian Prince, Austin Reaves, and D'Lo to get those. And to me, that's where we can really shoulder the load, which is why I think the minutes load is a little deceiving, right? He played 42 minutes last night. Honestly, there were probably like 25 hard minutes, right? Like to me, like throughout the game, he's able to rest because, hey, Austin, take over in overtime. D'Lo take over in the third quarter. AD has his kind of run. And hopefully when the wings get back, Rui's a guy that can shoulder some offensive load. So I think that's the way this team has to do it. And I think they have the capability to do that. You do want to keep his minutes down though at some point. Like AD also, like you don't want AD playing 48 minutes and LeBron playing I think 42 last night. But to beat the Clippers, that's what it takes. The Clippers gave you their best punch. Paul George was inferno. Kawhi, we just talked about, turned into 93 Jordan for the first quarter. Like those dudes were insane. Russ was hitting threes, right? Those threes feel like 6 points. Every Russ three felt like 6 points like last night. Like if Russ is hitting his threes and he had some terrible turnovers down the stretch, but overall I thought Russ played a pretty strong game. You got like 80 points from those three. You need every LeBron punch, and he's gonna have to play high minutes. What you don't want is LeBron playing 40 minutes against Orlando on Saturday, right? Like to me, that's where you're wasting his kind of minute load. But against the Clippers, against the Suns, against like really good high level Western teams, yeah, let him play, get those wins, get the team's confidence, that they can beat those type of really good competition. So I'm not worried about it, but I understand the conversation of trying to keep him at that. I think their goal was 28 to 32, right? Is that sweet spot for him, and we'll see if they can kind of keep it there.
Enjoy your light, but just know I am the sun. Mr. LeBron James on his Europe trip, enjoying the last part of it in addressing Mike Malone and the Denver Nuggets. That's a bar. Sorry. I stay on forever is how he finished that. So, I mean, year 21, who are we to say that LeBron James is a liar? Well, a lot of Twitter would say that, but that's beyond the point. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get back into it. We're going to talk a little Anthony Davis, a little supporting cast that continues to find to make their marks on this roster, and then we'll talk about that biggest lineup that the Lakers like to run out, and the benefits that we see of the Christian Wood signing. Who would have thought? Me. I thought that. So, Late Night Lake Show. We'll be right back.
The Late Night Lake Show podcast is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best legal way to play daily fantasy player props in states like California, New York, Texas, and more. You pick 2 to 5 players and an over-under on their projections, and you can win up to 10 times on any entry. The best part is you can mix players from different sports. You could take the over on LeBron combined with the under on Mahomes in the same entry. Prize Picks is the easiest way to play daily fantasy because it's just you versus the projected numbers. Just use our promo code LNLS, and any deposit you make can receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100. So go support the brand and go win you some money. It's the best of both worlds. Again, use our promo code LNLS.
All right, fellas. Last night, Wednesday night, LeBron James had a memorable night as he broke 2 records during the game. Do either of you guys know the records that LeBron James broke?
No, I don't think so.
Most points for someone at his age.
Yep. There you go. So it actually both have to do with his age, which, spoiler alert, a lot of LeBron James' accomplishments will be tied to his age. But in dropping 35 points last night, which is the most ever by a player in their 21st season, I think ESPN may have announced that on the during the live broadcast. So that's one, most points by someone in their 21st season. Also, he surpassed Karl Malone for the most 30-point games in the NBA history after turning 35. Wait a second, I'm going to say that again. He has the most 30-point games in NBA history after turning 35 years old. And he's done it 81 damn times. That is something, man. LeBron is he's setting some marks that, not many people that are just going to have the health to do or the talent and ability and focus to do. So, I mean, goddamn. Congratulations, LeBron James. Another 2 records broken. I'm sure we'll get a lot more this season. Flip it over to the big man. The face of the franchise, I like to call him, Mr. Anthony Marshawn Davis Jr., residing from Chicago, Illinois, went to Perspectives High School, then went to the University of Kentucky, then drafted by the G League New Orleans Pelicans, and then finally was promoted to the Los Angeles Lakers, NBA champion, and sits here in his 5th season rocking the purple and gold. Guru, game 1, the tiki torches, the pitchforks, the fire and brimstone was already out, ready to call AD no good, no more. Lakers can't rely on him. And what has he done? just stuck his foot up every single defender that has faced him, man. Another dominant performance, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 blocks, and a steal. Go talk to me just about how Anthony All Day Davis continues to just show his dominance on the court these days.
I mean, the guy is defending on the interior. He's defending on the perimeter as good as he's defending on the interior. We have put him on Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard for long stretches 5 games into the season.
Speak on it.
I'm going to say that again. We have put Anthony Davis on Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard for stretches while we hide our guards or whoever else. I said this on the space last night. I don't know if you guys recall a double team on Kawhi last night, aside from when D'Lo got caught on him on the switch. And then, I think Austin had the double as he should have at that moment. Other than that, I have to rewatch it again. I'm on a second rewatch, but I'm gonna watch it between now and Saturday. Shout out to Raj.
We got plenty of time, yeah.
Right. I'm gonna get the third watch in. You done your third watch yet, Raj?
That's tonight. That's tonight for sure.
All right. One double team, and it wasn't when none of those guys. So you have the ability to guard him straight up, which keeps everybody else home. And we know that, he's not looking to Kawhi's looking to score. When Kawhi gets the ball, he's looking to score. He's not looking to penetrate and kick. He's not looking to do any of that unless you send a second defender. He's looking to get to his spot and get up over people. Well, what happened when Anthony Davis was on him is that some of that was shut off, and he's Anthony Davis with what he's doing with the blocks. He literally has the Lakers in a place they shouldn't be, and that's at the top of the league in blocks per game. I think we're 3rd right now, if I'm not mistaken, in the league. And so, and remember, that's with no help. I mean, shout out to Christian Wood. I'm sure we'll get into that. But I mean, is there anybody else that you can say on this team is like a consistent shot blocker? No, he's leading the charge, and he has some help right now. Otherwise, we wouldn't be there. But my point stands is that he's kind of doing this by himself, being a rim deterrent, getting out, switching, recovering. And the thing is that you can't put into words, you can't put it on paper what he's doing right now in real time. The guy, we're watching one of the best defenders that has ever played this sport. The reason why it's hard to spot it is because he's so good offensively, right? That guys like Dennis Rodman, and Artest and Lou Dort and stuff like that. I mean, the last two are, better offensive players, but Dort has been improving. But my point is that a guy like Bruce Bowen, and that's going back in the day, but a guy like Bruce Bowen gets, all of his praise because, wow, he's so good defensively. And there's nothing else for you to talk about his game for it. So you're only focused on watching that. If AD sucked at offense, we would be saying we're watching the best defensive player of all time. I believe it would be in that range. But he doesn't suck at offense. So and he's inconsistent at times. So we tend to talk about that mostly. Wait, are you on mute again, Rick?
You're on mute.
Y'all got me?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we got you.
How does it sound? Because now I'm playing it through my AirPods. Do I sound like an idiot?
No.
It doesn't sound as clear as your mic, but I can hear you.
Motherfuckers, man. This Shure mic paid $1 billion for it. How about that?
Oh, I think that's
Did
better.
that work?
I think you're back on your mic. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. It was muted on the mic. Muted on the mic. God damn it. Yeah, no, these Shures, they sound crispy, but they're so damn janky when I'm not using like the actual aux jack. I'm just using like a micro USB to power it. So I'm sure it's some shit to do with that. Any event, I look to the hills which cometh my help, and I'll tell you where my help cometh. It cometh from AD on the defensive end, man. Goo, you couldn't have said it better. The brother he's putting on another outworldly performance this season. This is what I was going to say. Nation, fellas, Is there anyone else? And if there is, how long is the list of players that you have equally as high offensive as in defensive expectations as Anthony Davis? Because, like you said, Goo, he's getting crucified for non-offensive performances, but god damn it, you'll be a lying MF if you said that he don't show up on the defensive end every night. How long is the list? Kawhi no longer can be considered the top of that class, right?
I'm
Who
glad
else is
somebody else
headlining
said
that?
it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I don't have a problem saying that. I love me some Kawhi Leonard, man. His body has just, just broken down on him, and he's not guarding. He's not sticking folks like he used to, right? LeBron was still giving him that big bro, little bro business last night. And yes, that's LeBron James, but that's Kawhi Leonard, right? He also is a top 75 player of all time. How long is the list, Raj?
Not very long. The only other guy I would think of is Embiid, but he's not like a switchable big either, right? So he's more like kind of just stay back in the paint. Yeah, it's pretty much AD. And the guy I think of, Guru, that you're thinking of is like Rudy Gobert, right? He's kind of the Rudy Gobert is making like $50 million a year just to play that one side of the court, right? His offense is just dump off
Yeah.
passes and no real post game. So Minnesota has their hands full with that. But the numbers you put out, I mean, he's averaging. If you take out the Denver game, which is what it is, the scoreless second half. He's averaging 28 a game. I mean, 42 minutes a night. You talked about the blocks. He's averaging 3 blocks a game, 2 steals. Just the world on his shoulders defensively, and then offensively, obviously coming through with 28 a game. It's been incredible to start the season. He talked about he would. He talked about he's in the best shape to start a season, and it looks like
Yep.
it. And I'd like to help him out a little bit defensively. You talk about where's the help is coming from. Yeah, it's really Christian Wood, right? We leaned into this offensive unit, this offensive lane unit, which really I think hurts him because he's the one that has to come over every time. We're giving up so much dribble penetration. Our guards can't stay in front of a traffic cone right now. I mean, D'Lo and Austin
Yeah.
are getting beat off the dribble almost every single time, and AD's the one that comes over, and he not only has to come over, but he also has to rebound, right? And those things I think are really taking a toll on him. But Anthony Davis has been an absolute monster, and I do think there's places where I'd like his offensive aggression to be better at times, but it's hard to ask that of a guy who has to do so much already on the other end. And a new offense, a 5-out system. There was last night a lot of plays where he was taking like Zoo one-on-one, and like I just like that aggression for him. Rebound the ball and
Absolutely.
dribble it up. He can do that every time. If they're gonna single coverage you, the Clippers are a team that egregiously pack the paint on us like every single time. And last night we had some shooting to where like they couldn't do that as much, and he's able to get to the rim. He had some overtime baskets. He had one basket, Ricky and Guru, where I think they had like Paul George on him, and he got the ball and he scored, and they panned to his face, and it was kind of like, this guy can't guard me. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I think if he had more of that, I feel like he'd get more quote unquote respect around the league. You know what I mean? Like he
Mhm.
doesn't do any of the like nastiness. He's not really a, for lack of a better term, like a show off player, right? Like he doesn't talk, he's not talking smack. He's not on Twitter like Joel Embiid tweeting after every game. So like those kind of
Right.
things I think get lost in translation with how competitive of a MFer he is and how much he wants to win. Those stuff gets lost when you're not on social media, right? And stuff like that. So Anthony Davis has been a freaking monster. And if the Lakers won that stupid Kings game and Gabe Vincent maybe doesn't foul De'Aaron Fox late in the fourth, maybe we're born like one,
Yeah.
and he's in MVP conversations.
Singing a
You know
different
what I
tune.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he's in like MVP combos and defensive player of the year combos that Jaren Jackson looks like he'll have no chance at since Memphis is 0-5 already. But like he'll be already in those type of combos that I think he would be if that one game flips. So that kind of tells you where the narrative is, but he'll probably never get his due, and that's fine. And I think that's fine with him as well. But Anthony
And
Davis has been a fucking monster.
real quick on the aggression level, because one thing for me, I've always wanted him in that 18 to 20 shot range, shot attempt
Yeah.
range.
Mm.
The high this year is 22 shot attempts against Sacramento, and 17 shot attempts is the low this year. We
Hmm.
saw a lot of 11 shot attempt, 14 shot attempt AD, um, even in the playoffs last year. So the aggression level is up. Lakers can't get to where they want to go. I'm thinking 18 shots minimum, and that's about where the average is right now. That should be the minimum. You want to get to 20, 22 shots, cool. Kawhi took 27 shots for that Clippers team. yesterday, and I'm sure PG was somewhere close in the 20s. So
Yeah.
that's what it's going to take. We need to see that. We need to see that AD. No 11 shot attempt AD. I can't live with that.
Mhm.
If Russ can get off 21 shots, Anthony Davis for sure can get off 20 shots a game, right? Like it's just it's a little bit of a mentality, right? To just like, you know what? We have plays, we have sets, but sometimes this ball's in my hand and it's not leaving until
You
somebody get it off the
Rick,
backboard.
Rick, you could have closed the drapes with the pelican stray, but now, brother, you in overtime. You working.
Hey man, I think you know, I think Anthony Davis right now is in a zone, and Raj, you alluded to it earlier. It has a lot to do with this man having backup now. The rebounding, those first couple of games when Christian Wood wasn't getting those important minutes. Oh man, I was gonna bang my head against the wall, brother, until I got dizzy. It was not looking good over here for your boy Ricky. If there's one thing that I hate, it's two things that I hate. It's motherfuckers that don't rebound and motherfuckers that don't look like they want to rebound. And Anthony Davis was a one-man band out there. And folks are really, oh, why are all these Denver's big men getting easy offensive rebounds? Because AD's fucking playing help defense on somebody, man. And it's
I
just
tried
a
to help people,
barn
and like
door.
he's guarding passing lanes 30 feet from the basket. That's what in game rebounding means, you know.
That's it. That's it. And it seems like the Lakers started to figure out that successful recipe in playing more Christian Wood, Anthony Davis minutes, playing more LeBron James, Christian Wood, Anthony Davis minutes. Hell, playing more Anthony Davis, Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes minutes. That's even got a crazy plus minus right now. Somebody, please, can I get just some context about the beauties of having Christian Wood down there and what that does to the Lakers defensively, and also how AD is able to roam on the offensive end?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the scouting report now, right? Is like every team wants to bring AD out. So whoever AD is guarding, they make him the screener, bring him outside, and then just bet on LeBron, Torian Prince, whoever's at power forward to number one, protect the rim and then rebound, right? And so what teams do is just crash the glass on us. Like you saw Denver do that. Sacramento did that against us. But now you put Christian Wood out there, that gives you another rim protector. He's a much better rim protector than I thought he would be. He's more agile as well. He moves his hips in a way that guys that big usually don't. Like he has unique mobility as his size. If I told you guys like before the season that Christian Wood would get isolation stops against KD and Kawhi to help win games,
Yeah,
I would have called you crazy. I would have called myself crazy. But like that's what he's done, and I think that fit is something that we've been searching for, right? Like we tried it with Marcus Saul, we tried it with other bigs, like basically big men that can shoot, right? You kind of want to space the floor so that AD can kind of dominate inside, LeBron can attack the basket, and Christian Wood, so far it's early, has kind of been that nice compliment. He's the next iteration of that, and he's not in his mid 30s, right? Marcus Saul was like 36 when he came here, could not move anymore, took like 1 3 every 5 games, even though he was wide open, like a guy that just did not want to shoot. You can see Christian Wood's offense is coming back as well. The fluidity of his offensive game. He's starting to attack closeouts. He's hitting threes now. Had like a big three to cut the lead to one, but he's just been awesome. He's a better passer than I think people give him
yeah,
credit for. He has nice high low action with AD, and they have a really nice kind of relationship defensively as well. Where and Christian Wood talked about this. If you hear him speak, he's like, hey man, guys are going at AD on ball screens. It's my job to help him out. Like it's my job to recover and be the secondary help there. And Christian has done that really, really well. I'm excited for him. And again, another guy on a minimum deal. I just did not expect him to come in and be bought in defensively. And it's worked. And that lineup you're talking about, Ricky, it's funny because last year, if you guys remember, we played the Russ at center lineup, right? Like on Christmas, I believe that was on Christmas, where it was like Russ, Isaiah Thomas, Lonnie. Like I think Isaiah Thomas is
holy
part of that,
shit, I forgot
but
about
like
that. Yeah,
it was like Russ, Lonnie Walker, or whatever. But Russ was like the biggest guy on the floor, and then this season's like the opposite spectrum of that. We had AD at small forward with Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood, and during that few minutes that was on the floor, I think Kawhi got to the free throw line and he shot it, and Jackson Hayes like volleyball smacked it out, right? Almost like just building this line, like these three dudes whose arms covered the court if
yeah.
they were, holding them out. He
Was
just
that the
volleyballs.
two-hand block he had?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, bro.
two-hand
He
block
spiked it. Yeah.
where he just spiked it, and you could see Kawhi like, man, what the hell do I do with this? Like we were switching all of those, so like I think he had 80 to start, then he switched with Jackson Hayes, took a fadeaway, and Jackson just volleyball like tapped it away, and that kind of shows the size that we can offer. I think Vando's a part of this. Rui's another big, hopefully physical guy that we can kind of build this identity with, but it's nice. It's a stark contrast in playing like not Cam, Gabe, Torian at like, small and power forward that we did to start the season. So, yeah, the size matters on the basketball floor.
And in life. Don't be fooled. No, I'm just playing. This is multiple games in a row that Christian Wood has led the Lakers in plus minus. Like, once again, when is the last time during the LeBron James, Anthony Davis era where anybody else for any type of stretch, right? Maybe Austin, right? Maybe Austin during a point in time last year, but definitely not for more than 3 games. Christian Wood is clearly showing that he is an invaluable piece in this rotation. Folks are now starting to talk about should he be getting starter considerations. Guru, are you there yet, or are you still needing to see how Vando fits in this equation? The rumor of Jared Vanderbilt, because we don't have the physical product on the court yet. Where do you see Christian Wood's role developing from here?
First or second guy off the bench, which I think is what it's been the last 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not on the starter train, and here's why. It's not that I don't believe LeBron can guard or should be pushed up to the starting small forward. I'm not of that mindset. It's more it's a workload aspect thing, and I just believe that that's something that you save. Um, Put it like this: save that for the playoffs. Do you all remember when we inserted Markieff Morris against those short Houston Rockets? I'm
Yeah.
looking at a situation like that. Situational, if you run up against a specific matchup, you can plug him right in there. He can start for the regular season, for the long haul, just for everyone's durability. I think he should come off the bench. Also, I think that that's tough, right, for teams. If you have anybody 6'8" and above that has the reputation of a defender, you're gonna have to put him on Christian Wood. And if he's sharing those minutes with Rui, ideally over time, it's been clunky
Mhm.
with those two so far, but over
Yeah.
time, if you can force the defense to make a decision about where we should put our best defender on these 2 bench guys, you're winning. You're winning, and so with most teams on most nights, teams are not the middle of the middle teams, Detroit teams, Orlando, those teams are not going to have a guy coming off the bench that can make life difficult for Christian Wood. So I feel like that's where he can get his opportunities, and that's where he can make the most impact. I think with him, um, being a starter, he's going to get lost out there with D'Lo, Austin, LeBron, and AD, who's going to start no matter what. Those 4 guys are going to start no matter what. So if you're going big, he'll get lost out there offensively. He'll just be floating, and you might make up for something defensively. But if it's better to keep him in rhythm, I think he's helping defensively. He's still playing with AD off the bench, and I think he can get some offensive opportunities there.
I was being sarcastic earlier in the year because of how many Dallas Maverick fans were saying that Christian Wood is an absolute liability on the defensive end. And similar to Cam Reddish, I'm like, well, I'm looking at these dimensions here, right? And then I'm going to assume it probably because he just doesn't give a shit on that roster about playing defense. He was more interested about scoring in groups, right? He's now with the Los Angeles Lakers playing with one of his BFFs, Anthony Davis. That bromance is just so adorable to watch them too. Anthony Davis with friends. It's really nice to see, right? When he came over, it was a lot of him and LeBron. Now it seems like AD's got his own little group of minions, and that's awesome, right? Love AD kind of taking the reins from a leadership perspective. And Christian Wood definitely feels like he feels like he has the duty to defend AD's back, right? He
Hmm.
needs to make sure that when the best defender on our team and one of the best defenders on this planet is out doing Superman shit, we are not barbecue chicken under the rim for easy layups and dunks, right? And I think we're seeing that come to fruition because Christian Wood's not being asked to score 20 points a night. They're not asking him to just take the ball and go ahead and like bring us back into this game. His contributions are just as appreciated on the intangibles as they are the tangibles. And when you're with a team that has the depth, and we'll get into that, right? Because the Lakers were a little light last game in their forwards position. You're able to really just settle in and figure out throughout a game where you think you can make the most impact. You'll see it. You'll see young guys, especially, go into a basketball game. It's like, well, I need to score X amount of points. When the ball's in my hands, I need to make an impact that way, right? And you see
Yeah.
them doing too much. I haven't seen Christian Wood doing too much whatsoever. Has he airballed a couple shots? Sure. So do I. So do you. It is what it is. It gets a little drafty. Austin's getting his sea legs back under him. It happens, right? But I think easily Christian Wood has been the biggest positive of this early Lakers season as far as our new addition. So, hey, brother,
Uh,
I'm proud of you, C. Wood.
Rick,
I,
just to add real quick, sorry, Roger, just to add real
no,
quick.
go ahead.
Again, I try to tell opposing fans all the time, we're different. We are not the same. I just looked at that roster and who the best big man defender was over there. I don't know. You want to call it JaVale McGee? He wasn't playing.
Yeah.
You want to call
Okay.
it Dwight Powell? What do you want to do? I mean, or their best defender. Period. I don't even know. So you're relying on Christian Wood to literally be your back line and the backbone of your defense. We're not relying on Christian Wood for defense at all. We're not the same. So when it happens, it's just icing on the cake. That's the
Period.
difference between us. We are not the
Also,
same.
or Rick, you said Dallas fans. I mean, you could go to Houston fans, you can go to Pistons fans, you can go to
That's
Bucks
true.
fans, right? Like Christian Wood's a guy that's been around the league, and I think his reputation kind of preceded him, where he's a guy that wanted the ball and wanted to kind of be a 20-point scorer, and he did that, right? He's like, hey, I averaged 18 in Dallas. I didn't get paid for that. But also, I also think it's the messenger sometimes, right? Like it's not just the message, it's the messenger. And
Mm,
Guru, you just named all those names there. Not only were they relying on him to be a defensive kind of anchor, they also weren't playing him over those guys, right? They started JaVale over him, and like he wasn't getting minutes. And his plus minus in Dallas too, I think got shaky after a while. But he's like, I'm coming in, I'm getting
I got
baskets,
to
I'm
get
averaging
after it.
18. Yeah, the only guy that can really I can look down to is like Luca, right? Like it's the only guy like or look up to is like Luca, who's better than me.
Right.
Everyone else, I feel like I'm on their level. But like now he comes to the Lakers, where I think there's a correct or a established hierarchy to where he knows his place on the team. And like he's bought in. And sometimes it's just the messenger, like him and Jason Kidd. If you look at the comments when he came here, he's like, I don't want to speak about Dallas. I don't like how they, what they did to me, et cetera, et
I
cetera.
saw that.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so like I think like sometimes it's the messenger as well. He's come in and give Darvinham credit. He's kind of been the minimum signing whisperer so far. Like he's got Cam Reddish and Christian Wood all bought into roles where their reputation said they wouldn't. Right? Cam was in New York, wanted no part of that. To be like a guy who's gonna be your 3-and-D wings, like give me the ball. I'm Cam freaking Reddish. I was the number one prospect with along with Anthony Edwards, but
Right.
Darvin's got both of them defending their ass off, and it's helped the team.
Speaking of Coach Ham, man, I know he was talking his wife down on the phone back in the day. Like just his phone game, elite, elite. Said he was on the phone with Christian Wood every day, just whispering sweet nothings in his ear. There's the quiet storm. Darvin Ham getting the job done. Him and Rob Pelinka, just you might need a cigarette after talking to them too. It's apparently they get down with it. So we're gonna take one more quick break, and then to wrap up our show, we're gonna talk about our backcourt, man. The Lakers backcourt, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reaves, have left some to be desired these first few games. They definitely turned it on this last one in the win over the Clippers. We needed both of them. So stick around. We'll talk about the Lakers backcourt. Honestly, one of my favorite clips that just goes viral every now and again. It's so useful and so universal is the high school football team. And the one dude talking about, I think I got my swagger back. Oh, that was Austin Reaves last night. We were, man, the nation again was getting a little palm sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, right? When it came to how they're looking at their Fresh Prince and Austin Reaves. He came into the season, and we've talked about it, right? Grinding through the a tough Western Conference playoff series, getting to the Western Conference Finals, did not end how we wanted it to be. But then he quickly turns around and plays Team USA basketball for that month and a half, 2 months, right, including their training camp. Then turns around and then starts the NBA season. The sea legs, the legs looked a little baby deer, looked a little fawnish to start the year. But I think as D'Angelo Russell, just came out and said that he was still getting his legs under him, it seemed that Austin was just one crossover away from really locking back into who he was, and that was Kimmy Anthony. Guru, bro, just talk us through AR's return.
Yeah, our guards faced some mean guys last night, right? I mean, Russ is a mean guy, on the court, and I say that in the most respectful,
Right.
admirable way possible.
Wasn't
Calm
shaking
down,
up
Jamal.
nobody's hands at tip
Calm
off.
down, Jamal. Put the strap down. I don't want no smoke. He's one of the most meanest guys on the court in our basketball game, and then Paul George, Kawhi, those guys are not nice, and so when you see those guys lined up in front of you, and you're an Austin Reaves, you're an undrafted guy. I thought in the first half he was a little passive. I thought that he kind of, was at an acceptance stage of like, okay, damn, they're starting Paul George on me to start the game. Well, somebody else's night. And as the game went on, there's one play that stood out more than anything Austin did for me. Austin was spotted up in the corner. A shot attempt went up. He broke his ass to the basket, did not get the offensive rebound. But you know what happened?
Mhm.
I think his Bones Highland got caught, didn't box out. He jumped between three Clippers. They called a loose ball foul. Lakers get possession. That's the shit you do when you are not hitting shots. That's how you make an impact on the game. It's not going to be in the box score. The haters are still going to look at the box score and say, "Oh, he didn't even do that much." Nah, he
They're
was
gonna
out
try to
there.
call him a foul merchant.
Right.
You saw him, they were
He-
starting to get a little irritated, right? Even
he
PJ Tucker was like, "Come on, man, you see this bullshit he doing?" Yeah, it is what it is, brother. That's what
Right.
you play. It's
So
game.
so once that happened, right? Okay, now you're engaged. You're lathered up. As ball players say, right? You got to lather work, and you're in the game. And now we're within striking distance. Next thing you know, out of nowhere, he's in rhythm. He's in rhythm, and he's snaking pick and rolls again. He's doing his thing. He's being crafty again, and he's frustrating guys. And I think when he dropped Norman Powell, he said, "I'm back." I'm back. Right.
Mhm.
And from that point, the moxie just kind of came back in. He got he had his mojo, his swagger, whatever you want to call it. But to me, I was watching the little things. Are you going to stop being passive when one of those guys is lined up in front of you? Are you going to try to get some steals, some deflections? And then fourth quarter overtime was the Austin that we grew to know and love from the playoffs, and that closing stretch, those final 10 games where he became the starter last season, and the Lakers went 8-2 over that stretch. And he looked like that player again. And everyone was happy for him from the top down. But to me, it started with the little things, because look, that's all between the years, man. And a lot of guys fade out when they're not hitting shots. A lot of guys can I'm sorry, we saw this play out with Malik Beasley for over a month.
Yeah, that was nasty.
And those yips got worse and worse and worse until Darvin had to make a change. Those yips won the battle with Malik Beasley, sadly. And here you got a guy that says, "What else can I do on the basketball court to help my team win? You know what? I'm
Right.
going to crash the glass from the weak side. Oh, I didn't pick it up, but they were out of position, so I got a loose ball foul. We get an extra possession. Those things matter.
Winning
So I was
basketball
proud of
players
him.
make winning plays, brother. And Austin still he stayed the course. Austin seemed like he on the bench getting his life together, knew he wasn't playing up to his standards, and locked the hell back in, brother. I mean, you can't say much more about a guy who understands that something's not working. Let me go knock on these other doors and try to make a strong contribution. Where I wanted to direct this now is his running mate, Mr. D'Angelo ice in my vein Russell, and I just appreciate how every single Laker, every single one has now embraced the ice in my vein celebration. I guess AD has just fully
Yeah.
stolen it, right? But talk to me a little bit about D'Lo, man. We could not have survived that first quarter without him.
No, we couldn't. And then, Guru brought up Malik Beasley. He's actually the wing defender now from Milwaukee. So that's going as well as the Patrick Beverly wing defender went here. So shout out Malik Beasley who's starting for them. But no, yeah, D'Lo's been awesome. I think he obviously had an incredible preseason. I think struggled in Denver, tried to kind of do too much, but he's just been a professional point guard, man. They've been trying to kind of shove Austin into this point Austin stuff, but D'Lo just looks in control. I love when they kind of stagger him and LeBron's minutes so he can have his own unit to run. His jumper went down right against the Clippers, and we don't come back in that game without him. The Clippers, again, like I said, they egregiously packed the paint. He was one of the first ones to hit some spot up threes, missed a kind of potential game winner, but he was able to get to a spot, be in the mid range, hit his mid range pull ups, was kind of playmaking as well. D'Lo just looks awesome, man. And my least favorite thing about our offseason, Ricky and Guru, was anytime anyone mentioned D'Angelo Russell, it was like his last name was tradable contract, right? Like that's it. It was like D'Angelo Russell tradable contract, D'Angelo Russell tradable contract. I'm like, this guy was good. Like he struggled against Denver, obviously, but kind of the whole team did. But those first two series, we don't go, we don't get out of those without him. And the whole point to me, we've been preaching the number one word on every podcast, every space that I think anyone has said is continuity, right? That was preached all summer, continuity, continuity. And to me, what that entails, other than just bringing your guys back for a training camp, is to have gone through wars and trenches to where you know what to do in late game situations. You know what to do when, you're down 5 and you need a basket, right? Or like the team goes on a 10-0 run and we need some kind of points here. And if you go rewatch last night, there's a bunch of times where the Clippers go on a crazy run, D'Lo comes in and hits a 3, or D'Lo comes in and makes the right play. He back cut on Russ so many times last night to where like I think Russ was kind of
Yeah,
ball
he did.
watching, was able to kind of get behind him and just get easy baskets like that. And that's stuff that you get when you've been with a team a while. You kind of understand where your lanes are and where you're supposed to cut from. And D'Lo has back-to-back 27 plus point games. He's been awesome. Has started the season really well, and hopefully that continues. His shooting is on point. He played so well last night. He still didn't close. They took him out for Christian Wood, but that kind of just shows you where the team's at, the type of depth they had to where that can happen. But he was great, and we don't win last night without him for sure.
There was a clip that started circulating today, and it was a Christian Wood post game interview, and he actually accredited D'Lo with just coaching
Mhm.
him up when they was on the side. He said that one of the last timeouts that D'Lo told him, "Hey, man, you're going to be in the corner. If they give you that ball, you have to shoot it. Like it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
just launch that motherfucker. And if they don't give you the ball, crash the boards because they're not going to be boxing out." How the Lakers seal that game in overtime, right? They had a missed shot, Christian Wood with an easy putback dunk to really put the cherry on top with it. And I think that just goes to show that D'Angelo Russell, while he's not finishing every single game, the maturity, right? Being locked in, staying focused, actually being an asset. And this is what we talk about with, point guards, right? They're default floor generals of the team.
Hmm.
And being the general, right, you are instructing, you're giving orders, you're seeing things that the troops may not see and putting them on. And that was definitely a tip in D'Lo's cap. And everybody was, I remember the clip, everybody celebrating about the putback dunk. D'Angelo Russell just turns to the crowd and just gives them a nice little flex. Like, yep, I told that
Hmm.
boy that stuff right there, man. So I love that we're just overall, I think we're seeing just a more mature D'Angelo Russell. I think, fatherhood has, as it does with everybody, Gru would tell you, it grounds you. It has no other choice but to put your feet in cement blocks and tell you this shit's bigger than you, man. This whole thing, it's got a lot more than just how you wake up and go about your day to day. And I think D'Angelo Russell is definitely showing that side of maturity that hopefully we can continue to see produce on the court. Not every night's going to be that good for him for scoring, right? He's not going to always be that hot from three, but if he can still stay engaged on the defensive end, which I think a lot of Lakers fans appreciate, and what he's already said himself, that Denver kind of ran him off the floor for being not an asset and being a liability on defense, he wasn't going to let that happen anymore. The third guy, talked about Cam Reddish, right? About his size and being a disruptor. Talked about Christian Wood and his size and being a disruptor. Both guys not really known for their defensive prowess, but making defensive contributions. D'Angelo Russell is the third guy on this podcast that we're going to talk about, and he has all the physical intangibles for being a pain on the ass on the defensive end. It's a mentality and it's a little bit of film study to really try to make your marks on that end. So D'Angelo, you're the second applause of the night, brother. Congratulations for, sticking it out, staying the course, and staying dedicated to the craft of knowing that you're going to have to carry some of the scoring burden, especially with Austin not as hot as he was. Fellas, last thing I wanted to touch on quickly, and I hate to bring this down a notch. What is our concern level of the Lakers' wing depth and injuries, right? Like Rui Hachimura got gashed in the eye. So hopefully, right, we can just his vision can come back. He's in the concussion fucking protocol. It turned into him
Yeah.
getting hit in the face to this being like, yeah, the lights are literally too bright when he's in the arena. We're gonna have to put him in the concussion protocol. Then you got Taurean Prince, which was a late scratch. He was downgraded from the starting lineup, said he was questionable the whole game until like some announcement in the third quarter where it's like, yeah, Taurean Prince won't play tonight. Well, no shit. Like, okay, there. Thank you, guys. I guess he wasn't going to be the emergency goalie. And then we are still patiently awaiting the debut of the fresh contract. Who's this? Jared Vanderbilt. Real quick, I just want to know what's our concern level about our wing depth kind of quickly getting a little banged up when we just got done talking about LeBron James' workload. Goo, is this something that we are monitoring closely, or is this like, all right, a couple of freak injuries, but Jared Vanderbilt might be a problem?
Yeah. I'm concerned, and I would say I mean, if we're doing a scale of 1 to 10, I mean, look, my concern is a 5 right now, and it's simply because of what you mentioned. The additional workload early on for LeBron as a result. I think ideally that 29 to 30 minute range is when everyone's fully healthy. And here's the thing. Do I think this team is good enough to string together some wins if, um, two of those three guys miss extended time? I do. I do think we're good enough to string together some wins. My concern is that there is slotting and chemistry and continuity stuff that needs to be ironed out. Um, we're talking about Cam Reddish. He wasn't supposed to be in the rotation. I mean, you got Vando right there. Who I think it was clear either him or Torian was going to start. And I mean, if I can just drop my bomb, I think I don't know. I think he should still be the starter, and and there's a reason for that.
Agreed.
We can talk about that later, but I would like to see him come back, start, and us to be able to bring Torian off the bench, and have that depth. So it's a concern right now because if anytime you play a team with the Clippers capability, Suns, anything like that, Devin Booker came back this week, and so it's going to be important. And I'd like to pick up, keep momentum going, and stay confident early on in the season. So I'm concerned. My concern is about a 5 right now. Um, and I'd like to see it rectified. Hopefully Rui gets back, and hopefully it was nothing serious with TP. And if we can just get back to Vando, who I think won't play before December, I'd be okay
Oof.
with that.
Before December, oh man, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to operative words very carefully, and if the update is that he'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks, that's scratching off half the month right there. And I know how we usually do things. I recognize behavioral patterns very well, and I'm waiting for the next one to be okay. He's been, he's waiting to be cleared for 5-on-5 drills. You on me, Rick. You on
You're on mute, Ricky. You're on mute.
me.
God damn it, I'm tired of being told I'm on mute. Yeah, but go. Yeah, we're definitely gonna get the. He's been cleared for on-court activities. He's been cleared for 3-on-3. He's been cleared for 5-on-5. Now he's cleared to come back for Christmas. It started out. So yeah,
Man.
no. Raj, thoughts? Are we gonna? You think
So as I usually do, I look at the bright side on these type of things. I think Guru went through
Thank
the
you.
concerns, and obviously they're there. I think none of these injuries are supposed to be debilitating, right? Torian Prince late scratch, so knee soreness that can go in a multitude of different ways, but hopefully that's something light. We're also missing Gabe Vincent as well. Didn't play last night, right? Gabe, who's been struggling shooting, hit his first three, I think in against Orlando, so he hasn't shot well. But another guy that was supposed to be in our top 8, right? You just look at the rotation that came out, and obviously Vando's out. But I think this team, what we were able to learn some things because we played good teams, right? And I think we played Denver, you play Sacramento, whatever you think of them, the Phoenix Suns, who were out without their big three, but they had KD playing. If you play like Portland, it's hard to gauge where you're at. You play these type of teams, you play the Clippers, you can kind of learn about your squad. And I'm not sure we're able to learn things like, hey, Cam Reddish can be a point of attack defender, right? And I think Darvin sees Cam as Vando, kind of like he sees Cam as the Vando role, right? And that's why Cam started last night. And they had Torian starting before, but they started Cam, who actually started the game with a steal and I think a steal and a score to start that game out. But I'm not sure we learned that. I'm not sure we learned how good Christian Wood is if the entire rotation is there, right? Like if you have Rui and Wood there, Guru, you talked about those lineups have looked clunky. But I think this is without Rui, you were able to kind of put Christian Wood in different type of lineups and kind of learn what that looks like. Where, in my opinion, we need to compensate for our small guards, and I think we're finding that out with this team. Is that like Austin and D'Lo? If you put Torian next to them, that's just not enough size, especially with regular season defensive LeBron. But that's me looking at like the bright side of this, right? And this is why Guru, you said start Vando. I agree with you. I think Vando is able to help our guards and our bigs. He's one of these like swingman players that can kind of um, morph into whatever you need. He could be your point of attack defender, but he can also be the guy that rebounds, right? Vando is an awesome defensive rebounder and an offensive rebounder, right? He just got 15 mil a year for a guy who can't score. Like just think about like how good you got to be at all the other stuff for you to get that kind of contract, right? And I think that's why Vando got paid is because he's such a defensive ace, and there are offensive kind of limitations that come with that. But that's why I would still start him, and I think he allows you to compensate for your guards and for not having a big man next to LeBron, and that's something that no other player on this team can do. But Cam can kind of fill that role. Max Christie, your son Ricky, got in for a couple, or godson, I don't remember what you called him, but
grandson,
like
grandson.
grandson. Yes.
Yep.
Max got in. I thought he played well. Max, another guy that's a really good rebounder. That's one of his NBA skills right now. Was 1 for 5 or 1 for 7 from the field. So that's my bright side of looking at this. You get to look at the entire team, right? If you have 13 guys that need to play, Ricky and Guru, it's hard to evaluate any of them, right? You play Cam Reddish 8 minutes, it's hard to know if he's good or not. You play him 37 minutes, you're like, oh, this guy can actually guard. Like I know
That is
that's
such
in
a good
you,
point.
right? So that's the type of things that I look at. Or Christian Wood, like I know if I play you 35 minutes, you can keep your defensive motor and intensity and your IQ up. Those are things that you don't know unless you're able to give those guys opportunities. And that's the bright side. But no, get all these guys back. Get Torian, get Rui, get Vando, all healthy. Get Gabe even, who struggled, but get him back into this rotation.
And then there was Gabe. Yeah, hopefully hopefully, and Gabe's struggles kind of have been minimized because there are a lot of other Lakers that, are capable of picking up the scoring load. If this was last season and like Gabe was our one of two only 3-point specialists, I
Right.
think the Tiki Torches would already be out more than a section of the fan base already has them out. So, Gabe, looking forward to you turning the corner there. But once the Lakers guards really start clicking, the Austin D'Lo backcourt like we saw tonight, if LeBron James and Anthony Davis are healthy, man, and those two are doing their thing, this is what we talk about when we see like the machine starting to all the cogs starting
Mhm.
to work together. Then you bring folks off the bench. D'Lo starts to run a few people with the second unit. Christian Wood. Now we got the Twin Towers out there. Even Jackson Hayes comes in to just do ridiculously athletic things to kind of pump some extra juice into the team and the Staples faithful, which happens a lot. I felt like the crowd was a little quiet to start, and rightfully so. But you start stringing together some highlights, and the Lakers, the Staples faithful, the crypto faithful, they'll come alive in major ways, and we heard that through all of overtime. Hell, I was screaming from Chicago, almost woke my kids up, almost had to sleep on the couch last night, but well worth it for our Lakers. And fellas, I appreciate y'all sliding with us, man. We well into an hour. I might as well just chop this up and make it a 2-part podcast. Just, we could get all the clips and impressions and all that good shit going. But no, in all seriousness, Goo, man, you pulled a double shift. Yeah, I don't know what time you were up until last night, man, but you to turn around and now hop on the pod. Appreciate you, brother.
3 a.m., brother. That's
Oof.
had to do the first rewatch, and then had to go back, look at all the interviews. I've been doing this since I was since they created Spectrum Sportsnet. So go back, look at all the interviews. Before that, you go on YouTube. You got to know everything
Right.
they say after a win like this. So yeah, 3 a.m.
In the trenches, man. Just holding it down. And good, just because I have you on the pod, got to give you your flowers, man. You and Stace, y'all motherfuckers be doing it, man. I'll be on literally my second or third REM sleep cycle, and you guys are just getting into the second hour. So late night, the whole production would not be anywhere if it wasn't for you and Stace. So wanted to give you your flowers while you were on the pod, brother.
Appreciate it. Thanks for Stace. She's the one. Yep.
Absolutely. Big Raj, you all over the place, man. And I appreciate you making the time for me as always. You one of my road dogs and friends of the show, brother. But yeah, man. What you got another rewatch tonight, and then you got another guest spot? What's the rest of the evening looking for you?
Yeah, Lakers detailed pod. We'll do a space in about a little while here. Obviously before this goes up, so they don't know that. But yeah, no, I've been on here since Unwritten Rules, man. So always got to come
Yes, you
back
have.
and always got to come back here. It's funny, you mentioned Guru. I'll do my rewatch. I'll cut my clips, then I'll go in and listen. I'm like, man, they're still going strong, and the energy sounds like the game just ended. You know what I mean? It's like 2.5 hours, 3 hours later. I'll pop in and I'll still hear the back and forth enthusiasm as if the game just ended. So that's always fun for me. I always enjoy that. That's kind of my nightcap when I'm done with all my work. I go in and listen in, and obviously you guys do a great job with that. But yeah, thanks for having me, man. To talk Lakers this time.
Yeah.
All right, I ain't gonna make that mistake again. Raj is here for Lakers talking, all that other stuff. He'll just comment on the timeline from here and there. So got it. All right, y'all. Got a little bit of a break. We'll see who we got. Is it the Magic again? We pulling up against the
Yep.
Magic? Yep.
Magic
All
on
right, on the
Orlando.
road.
Mhm.
In Orlando, man. See, I get down to Florida always too late. I go to Florida every year for New Year's, and the Lakers always schedule this shit where they're either in Orlando early December or sometime in November, and I can never catch those Florida State games because they're going right down to Miami right after, which makes a lot of sense. But F me and my Disney World aspirations of catching my Lakers. But any event, that's a issue for me. I'm gonna let everybody get out of here. Appreciate y'all rocking with us for this episode of the Late Night Lake Show podcast. If you haven't, make sure you follow Guru and all of his crazy, amazing, engaging content. Make sure you are following Raj and all of his insightful, crazy, amazing, engaging content. And make sure you're following the brand wherever you get your hashtag good content. We will catch y'all on the timeline. For Guru and Raj, it's Ricky, Late Night Lake Show. Peace.